Across cultures, from oral tradition to sacred text, there are stories of giants whose origins lie somewhere between the heavens and the earth. Powerful and often dangerous, they appear in mythologies from every corner of the globe. Where did this idea come from? How did so many disconnected civilizations end up telling the same kind of story? Is it mere coincidence, or are they all echoing something older and shared? You don't have to go far into the Bible before you find these mysterious and intriguing lines in Genesis 6. There were giants on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. The word used for giants is Nephilim, but who were they? And who were the sons of God? And what does it mean that they were also on the earth afterward? The Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish text respected in the centuries before Christ, fills in the blanks. It tells of disobedient angels, the Watchers, who descended to Mount Hermon in modern-day Lebanon, and knowing they were rebelling against God, they bound themselves with an oath. They took human women as wives, and with them fathered hybrid offspring, giants known as the Nephilim. These beings spread violence and corruption with the hybridization of both humans and animals. The Watchers also taught humans forbidden secrets, metalworking, sorcery, astrology, sacred knowledge before its time. Their offspring ravaged the earth, and the cries of the righteous reached heaven. God imprisoned the Watchers in the earth until the day of judgment, and this fate of the fallen angels is echoed in the Book of Jude and the Book of 2 Peter. Other ancient Jewish writings also attest that the Nephilim weren't metaphors. They were real, and they were a problem of cosmic proportions. From roughly 516 BC to 70 AD, the Second Temple period, this interpretation was dominant among Jewish thinkers. Philo of Alexandria described angels mating with human women. Josephus plainly referenced the giants of old. In the centuries following the destruction of the temple, Rabbinic Judaism increasingly moved away from these apocalyptic and supernatural interpretations. The early church fathers confirmed the supernatural reading. Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Tertullian, and others all affirmed the Enochian narrative of heavenly beings who corrupted mankind. Only later, largely through the influence of Augustine, did an alternate Sons of Seth interpretation gain traction in the West, gradually diminishing the earlier understanding. This shift continued into the Enlightenment and was reinforced by the rise of Darwinian naturalism in the 19th century. For a deeper exploration into reclaiming the supernatural lens of the Bible, we highly recommend Dr. Michael Heiser's The Unseen Realm, linked in the description. Viewed apart from this supernatural lens, the flood of Genesis appears as merely judgment on human wickedness. But with the fuller context of the Nephilim, the flood becomes something else. Judgment, yes, but also grace. Not just grace to Noah's family, but grace to humanity itself. A rescue of the human race from a tidal wave of genetic corruption and ultimately their total demise. Because God had made a promise that a Redeemer, a Messiah, would come through a human lineage, and that lineage had to remain purely human. This is why the Genesis account stressed that Noah was perfect in his generations. While the initial incursion of the Watchers would have been thwarted by a global flood, the post-flood appearance of giants like the Anakim and Rephaim strongly suggest one or more additional incursions. In the Book of Numbers, we see the men sent to spy on the land of Canaan come back explicitly reporting that they saw the Anakim, the descendants of the Nephilim. After Genesis, 6 other Old Testament books reference giants in some way. And Goliath wasn't some random tall guy inserted into the text to convey a moral lesson. Rather, David's battle with Goliath, an actual Rephaim giant, foreshadowed the true and better David, Jesus, who defeated them once and for all. And in this context, the wars fought by the Israelites weren't just tribal skirmishes or arbitrary vendettas. They were part of the fight to preserve an uncorrupted bloodline to fulfill the promise God made to Abraham that through his seed, all nations will be blessed. It wasn't random, it was purposeful and part of the grand arc of redemption. The New Testament adds yet another layer. In 1 Peter 3:19, Jesus is described as preaching or proclaiming to the spirits in prison, a reference some believe points to the imprisoned watchers. This is even more compelling in that the very next verse describes their disobedience in the days of Noah. Why would it make sense for Jesus to go preach to specific humans who were disobedient during the days of Noah, but to declare victory to those who tried to thwart his coming and destroy those he loves? Now that makes all the sense in the world. This cosmic conflict didn't end with the flood. It came full circle in the death and resurrection of Christ. So while the concept of the Nephilim has profound implications for biblical theology as a whole, it also has direct relevance for our understanding of the spiritual realm. When a human being dies, their spirit goes to judgment and to heaven or hell. But what happens to the offspring of angel and human? According to the Book of Enoch, their bodies perish, but their spirits remain, disembodied and hostile. These spirits became what the ancients called unclean spirits, the demons that plagued mankind for millennia and continue to haunt our world today. Angels and fallen angels are spiritual beings that can manifest physically, as seen in various examples in the biblical text. Demons, conversely, are just spirits that don't assume a fully physical form. They can torment and possess but seek some kind of physical host. This is illustrated in the earthly ministry of Jesus when he drives out demons that ask for a new host and inhabit a herd of swine. Could these beings be the source of hauntings, possessions, even the jinn and shadowy entities recorded in countless cultures and very much still active? If these giants were real, then their influence wouldn't be confined to the ancient Near East. And it's not. From Baalbek to Malta, from Sardinia to Peru, the legends of massive beings and the reality of inexplicable stonework appear again and again. The Nephilim theory may be the missing piece, not aliens, not mythology, but powerful hybrids, giants, whose strength, knowledge, and arrogance left scars across the earth. If this isn't just myth, then perhaps much of the religions and folklore around the world echo the same story, a shadow memory of the same cataclysmic event. In our next episode, we'll explore whether these giants, the Nephilim, may have become the gods and demigods of ancient civilizations. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to watch more videos of the overlooked, the mysterious, and the forgotten.